right, a new trade breakdown video. I know you guys have been enjoying them, and today this is a trade I took on Euro USD. This is October 8th, so let's look at it on the M5, and we will together go over the whole day, and that's going to be lovely. So let's put the advanced Asia session indicator. Now let me bar replay and see what happened. So again, like I said, let's play Asia. Like right now in your current journey so far, I think that we don't have to mark up anything at Asia. Pretty clear. So coming out of Asia, what are the intentions? Buy side. People are buying, right? If we look here, just look at the trend, right? Very simple. Okay, now let's press play again. As we can see now clearly again, this now should be like super swift. The analysis you guys do now should be so clear that it's really easy. Okay, now we have a clear Asia high with equal highs. We can put this here. So now where's the liquidity? Okay, can we know where's the liquidity? Above this here. Perfect. Now liquidity isn't very relevant. For it to become relevant would maybe, I would expect maybe like something like that, or at least a new structural low, something that goes lower, that confirms the reaction. So now let's continue and see what price does. Again, nothing too major. It induces high. Perfect. Okay. Now we can also argue that we maybe had an FBOS, right? Very clearly. Now, for it, if this becomes an FBOS, maybe that this imbalance POI or this zone becomes an SMT demand. I think this is a demand. Yeah, this is a demand, and over it's a supply. And this is an FBOS, so it induces high, right? Oops, this is a mistake. This is an FBOS, so this is the SMT, right? You can confirm there's a reaction, goes higher, and we have our inducement. God damn it, I'm too tired. I'm making my own mistakes, even though I took the goddamn trade. Now, this is good. Now we took the SMT. Let's confirm the reaction. Taking the liquidity now, and this is even better in my opinion. I think that this is even better. So let me just change it up here. I think that this here actually makes this as a more relevant SMT in my opinion. This point led to this high here. Now we have this here, right? And came, oh yeah, this makes more sense. See, it's very important to understand that once you do your markups, it's mandatory that you adjust. First of all, I saw the FBOS here to justify the reaction of this wick here and then go higher. Yes, and potentially there is kind of an FBOS here, but the most relevant one would be this one, like the push and speed. And this is what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to adjust those markups the more the day advances, right? For me, when I wake up, it's around like 7:30. So here, I literally go on the computer and I don't really have too much time to analyze, so I can just barely see what happened. But it gets easy with time. So we have also those little mini equal lows confirmed with a new high. This is done, and this is done, and now we would have also here as a potential SMT. See again, we had our SMT here. Not so relevant now, really more clear. You can see it here clearly. Boom, 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 whatever. Okay, you get the idea. Buy side liquidity. Now let's see what happens. Okay, so this is what I like to see. Let's go and let's check on M1. What's happening here? Potentially break and retest traders here entering, as you can see here. Okay, go. And now let's go on M1 and see what happens. Now we have maybe a little entry possible. Let's go check on M1. No, nothing. No entry. Reacting from kind of Asia midline-ish. I don't do those things. This for me, this isn't even a valid POI, so I don't mark this, but we get the idea. It's just unfortunate that from this break and retest trader here, and maybe this internal IF boss with this SMT confirmed with this reaction here, inducing low. It's a little bit too pulled by the hair to justify it as a potential buy opportunity. Really too, yeah, not good. So right now we get the idea. Coming back into the SMT, it's rinse and repeat, guys. Rinse and repeat. It's always the same thing. So here we go. We're gonna move this. Clear inducement, clear speed, clear momentum. Let's look to the left. What do we have? We have nothing. Okay, so let's focus on surely intraday. Remember, when there's a clear inducement of Asia high or any kind of relevant push, I always look to the left. And for now, we have nothing, right? Nothing. So intraday. So the last relevant inducement would be this one, right? But now it seems like this push really entices people to buy. So it's very important that we mark up the liquidity again. And you will notice that in some videos, I start by sometimes stop marking up liquidity, like this one here, right? It's not mandatory because it's clear, it's simple, we know it, right? We have our inducement of Asia low, this point here. So this is the real Asia low, right? We push here, didn't close above, but all this price action actually went higher. So potentially we have people entering. We even have maybe break and retest traders entering here to go higher. Very easy. This liquidity point is there, but you need to understand that in some time, like maybe in your journey, you will have to start by cleaning up your chart and removing stuff and only putting relevant stuff. It's very important. That way you will become a real master. Okay, let's continue. Let's see what happens now. See, we just skip quick because there's nothing now. We're not looking for an entry. We're not looking for nothing. Even though price comes back into this POI, there's no real indication that tells me that right now we're going shorts, especially if we're in this full imbalance. So let's wait for more price action development, right? Nothing here now. Perfect. Pushing. Okay. Comes back into the inducement POI. Now let's go check here. What do we have on M1? Mitigated this point. We can justify it, right? We can justify this point here. Okay. Maybe this is a missed opportunity. Do you see it? Like, we have our inducement. Price is retesting this inducement POI. This is where I'm really interested usually and taking the continuation. People want to trade from here, but look at the size of this bitch. It's way too big. I rather wait for a little bit more correction, more price action development, and having a tighter stop loss to have a better risk reward. You will notice that I rarely take the first one. I always wait for a little bit more price action development. So you have a good idea that right now price is potentially going for a reversal instead of always trying to take that goddamn extreme. Okay, try to take the decisional POIs for once. Now let's see what happens. Oh, now it's even nicer here. Okay, so this would have came back. Okay, perfect. As you can see here, same thing we discussed in the video. Here, this high is protected. This is a higher low now. So this becomes a IF-boss. Here, this is your inducement. And here we go. So this is, it's always the same thing. Always the same thing. If you have the SMT and the POI, and SMT and the IF-boss, I mean, or the F-boss, you have the keys to success, because this is always the same thing. Same crap, different price action. Okay, let's continue. We have our clear inducement, clear rejection candle, clear wick. We know for a fact that there's potential liquidity that has been taken, and this is perfect. And see, now they're moving short, so there's no F-boss to be taken now, because the only F-boss we would want is for the one to be done on the opposite direction, because now if this closes below, we switch the trend. Okay, what kind of price action is this? God damn it, that's boring. Okay, pushing. Now candle almost touching perfectly, so this would become clear equal lows. Okay. So that induced perfectly. Okay. So now inducement. Okay. So now we have clear liquidity here, pushing here. Let's mark it so we don't forget here. Okay, and we have also liquidity here. Potentially if this price closes clearly below it. Okay, clearly below, close below, perfect. Now we have also liquidity here. Very straightforward. Now we can at least see that we have this price shorting, right? Downwards price action, sell side liquidity. So let's wait and see what happens. This is at this moment, I knew that I wanted to look for actual sells, closing those candles perfectly to the pip of these equal lows, right? And the candle after reacted that way. It was at this moment I knew, okay, I want to take a short. So where would be the most probable F-boss or potential reversal point based on the current PA? This point led to this high here. So this low. So this would be the first structure the equal lows traders would want to trade. Okay. And also, if this is a new high, this means that it's also an F-boss. And it's very important that you understand that this, if this becomes an F-boss, if you want to take a short, you are trading into the liquidity. This is a very advanced way of doing it, because usually what you want to do is you want to have, let's say here, an SMT with an F-boss here. This is what you want to do usually, right? You want to wait for that inducement. You want to wait for that SMT. This would be the F-boss, right? This is what you want to do. But in this case, it's the opposite, because if we see an F-boss, this would become the valid SMT, right? So let's put this as SMT, because that was so predictable. Like I've called it like literally when I saw it. So when I had that alert, I just went into M1. Let's see here. We had that POI here that came back mitigated. And I think from the left, we had that decisional imbalance POI that came back. Yes, perfectly here. So we justify only. Maybe we can justify with this thing here. Here we go. Very neat. Okay. Some people would mark this, but this is completely irrelevant for me, in my opinion. I'd rather take this one. Okay. So let's go. So when they push price, I waited for my relevant break of structure. Why is it relevant? Very straightforward. This point here led to a new high, so it becomes a relevant structure. If this point would have led to a new low, this would have been an internal break. Okay. And then we can just see that I took here. I just took it like this. It wasn't in 30 seconds. It was very just an M1. And the target was clear. It was the SMT. So as you can see here, we have the clear, if we mark up the path tool, here, 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 here. I think that if I do this, it's going to confuse people. So let's start the PA from that high here. Here we go. That's going to be better. I don't want to confuse people, right? Here we go. Clear structural shift. Very, very neat. Very straightforward. You guys all understand this. This is the structural shift that actually changed the trend. So the trend, you need to understand that I don't want you guys to look at all this in a higher time frame, because otherwise we're still in an uptrend, right? So trading intraday is actually being oftentimes against the trend. So you're trading against the pullbacks, with the pullbacks of the higher time frame legs. And this is why I don't have a bias for a day. This is why I don't look at higher time frame. I just do not care. The only one thing I want to do is in and out. So as you can see, the decision was pretty clear. We had clear equal lows. We had enticement with speed and momentum here. Buy side liquidity is being architected. We only had sellers in the market. Now they're inducing what we call early buyers, right? They're trying to work them out with the equal lows and with the FBOS, right? Enticing them to enter here. And this is also perfectly a New York Open. Again, let's forget about all the fancy stuff you guys learned about timing. The only thing you want to focus on is London Open and New York Open. These sessions work the same way. Like I always say, when everybody goes to work at 8:30, there's traffic on the road. This is the same thing. The session is opening at 8 a.m., sorry, my time. And the volume comes in at 9 a.m. because the stock market's open. These are the only things you want to focus on. Very, very, very easy. Okay. So I took this trade, waited a little bit, moved myself to break even. The push here confirmed that look at the speed and look at the momentum. Like when they push here, it slows down and then they push. Why? Because people want to be excited. The more fast they go, the faster they can be involved. So this is why they push price so fast. Look, in one single 5-minute candle, look how perfectly it got in. Now you had a reaction. People are like, oh God, I'm the best ICT trader in the world. Everybody's happy. They all think they're the best. But actually, it just makes sense that for them to be looking at any kinds of trade ideas, it needs to be presented to them, right? The same way you give cheese to a mouse or a fucking rat, you need to present clear patterns, clear intentions, and entice people to enter clearly. You cannot argue that this would be seen as a potential break of structure if you were a retail trader, SMC. You cannot argue that this point isn't the one that led to this low. That is actually the one you would want to look for if you're trying to buy from the equal lows, right? You cannot also argue that this PY here has an imbalance. And you can't either argue that this push went so fast into it that it entices people to get excited, right? Why would they push price fast if they weren't looking for people to be involved? And you have that beautiful imbalance, FOV, FUG, FTP, call it whatever you want. But this is essentially what they're looking for. So as you can see, those patterns are clearly architected easily for them, right? And at this point here, if you go in 30-second, no new entry for me. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to enter, but I took my partials at this POI. And important thing to note, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you trade like me or if you're better than me. You cannot guarantee if a trap, if equal lows, if any kinds of inducement will hold. So it's important to take your partials. Partials are 100% success rate. There's no such thing as failing into stop loss partial, because you can take money out of the table. And this is something I always say. So when you try to pass an FTMO or slash prop firm, right? Basically, you risk always 1R, right? So let's say that you risk 1%, then it takes 10 trades loss to blow your account. Let's say you lower this amount and you go to 0.25%. Then if you lose 1R, it takes you 40 trades, right, to blow. How many of you have blown accounts even if you trade 0.25? Even if you trade 0.20, that 1R, whatever the percent is, it adds up pretty quickly. So let's say you have this trade here. I don't know why it's a 1 to 9. It was a 1 to 11 on MNT FOREX. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, something like that. Like this, if you close your partials at this POI, that's a 1 to 7.4. That's more than enough. You need to understand that you have to focus on winning trades and forget about the whole idea of trying to slam those home runs, slam those 125-ish Rs. Focus on making money. Even if it's a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 4, there's no shame about doing it because it will add up. And realistically enough, I wasn't doing more than 1 to 5, 1 to 4s back in the day. I was very conservative, and I've been taught about just doing a 1 to 5. And now I do way better because I improved and I'm bored. So focus on actually either taking your partials or grow this goddamn stop loss. You don't have to go like super tight with me because you potentially don't have the same experience and you potentially don't have the mentality and the psychology to handle those losses. Because I take a loss, and other than just being excited for the next trade, I don't really care. So this is important. Take your partials. There's nothing wrong about taking partials. Yes, it's a little bit less fancy. It's always nicer to have a direct TP. But how many times have you been involved in trade that you haven't taken partials and you would regret afterwards when you hit the BE? So it's very, very, very important that you protect your trade and you take some money out of the table. For me, I always take 80%, but sometimes when the trade is so short and not so long, I take 50%. So it's either 50 or 80, but my trade assistant is set up as 80%. Okay. Seems a lot, but this is how I make my money. Now, this is better. They faked the equal lows again and it got slammed. Now, as you can see, let's go on EM5 and let's check exactly. We're already in EM5. Let's check exactly what they do. I think they take the low, and I think the price chokes. A lot of people will get confused because they say, how come this point here hasn't been taken? Who are we to say if liquidity would be taken today? Liquidity is the same thing as when you're trying to keep leftovers of your lunch or your supper or whatever. You do too much food, you have to eat them for the next couple of days. Liquidity is the same thing. Why would they induce their position just now before taking out trades, right? So basically, they're forcing the price to go lower, right? At one point, they will release some liquidity, right? I'm not going to go into this detail, and it will react. And then they will just come back and mitigate all their position. Depending if they want to go high or low, they will come back and close their position. It's very, very important. Usually, when institutions buy, right? When they close their position, sometimes there's a reaction because they close here. The volume is out. It's not always when they take liquidity. Sometimes it's just they release the liquidity and that's it. There's no inducement, right? They're not always trying to induce something. Sometimes the price just moves in random direction. And when they release it, it's because they actually deliver the liquidity to the market. And let's check. I think I went here perfectly. They induced this low. This point led to this high. This was a very, very good move to react to. It's unfortunate that this one is still intact. But remember, it's far possible that this liquidity here isn't there anymore. We don't know. We don't have access to the order books. All we do is just stack evidence, like I always say. So it's very important with the subject of the trend line. I don't want you guys to do these things like this, like this, and going over that candle. That's not what I've shown. The candle closing below. The only strategy that I showed this was the equal lows or equal highs. So when I see people doing this, this is a mistake. We're not body candle traders. We're complete wick and body traders. So it's very important. Again, let's go back and put the TP back in here. I could feel bad about myself of here, like not targeting the Asia low and making more money. But remember, your goal is to identify the liquidity. You don't care until where they go, because potentially you need to understand, yes, there's liquidity here, but also this is an inducement POI because it induced this to the left. So maybe you're going to have a reaction. And depending on the relevant liquidity left, maybe you're going to reverse. And your point is exactly this, trying to justify everything that happens to know exactly what you should do. And it's important that the most probable target is the SMT. I don't care who says what, it's the SMT. And it's a fucking 1 to 10, 1 to 11-ish on an MT4. So it's more than enough. So try to focus on understanding the direction, understanding where are the traps, understanding the liquidity, and then position yourself. You don't have to take trades, but at least understand it. If people here today a lot of people would say today on the Discord, this short makes sense, but I wouldn't be able to trade it. And it's the case. You don't have all the pieces of the puzzle, so you cannot trade, but you can understand. And it's way more like nice to be able now to understand what I do and what I was posting online than just to have indications on like questioning on what I did or what I did not did. So I think it's very nice to see it. You see the manipulation, you see the intention. Look at the candle closing below to go back into the SMT. It's beautiful. It's handsome. I love it. Everything is super clear. And I think you should be able to have all the toolboxes right now to understand this trade. It doesn't mean that you can enter it, but it's just to understand that even though the target could have been until here and say, I would have holded this trade, I would have made it 120R. That's not trading. You close your position, you're done. What you can do is take partials and leave some peanuts. I used to do this also, leave some little peanuts, but now I don't do it anymore. Like when the day is done, I just close my position. I think I'm just too tired and I don't have the energy anymore to let position open. Like I have people that I know that swing trades for weeks. I have no idea how they can sleep with their position being open. It's not because I'm scared of losing money, is that my trade success comes from my live analysis. So if I'm sleeping and I'm not able to read the new price action development, I don't know what happens. And this is a major issue, because if I don't know what happens, I cannot adapt. I cannot take partials. I cannot take I take profit. I cannot adjust my price and my analysis. So it's very important. Every single piece of information are different, and you need to adjust based on the day, the pair, and the price action. So even though you saw something similar on another day, let's say, remember my Asia high, my Asia buy, I took an Asia buy here at Asia midline. There's an inducement POI. It's way different. All these trades are different. They all say something, and you can clearly see it based on this analysis. So I hope this video was short, 30 minutes, not so long, but at least you get the idea of how I was able to trade into the liquidity. So basically this SMT that I was targeting, clearly was clear, clearly worked, as you can see. It went there very, very, very straightforward. And it gives you the idea that when you understand what's happening, all the rest is just execution. You just enter the trade and that's it. And this is what I love about trading. My day was literally done in 8 minutes. 8 freaking minutes. So this is more than good. And then you can enjoy your day. So I think that's the beauty of trading. You can wake up, take a trade, leave. But to be able to be at this level of skill, you need to practice a lot. And this will take months or maybe years. Who knows? What I know is that if you're still here with us in a couple of months, we will see a lot of improvements from your end. And I'm very excited to see that. So hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys on Discord. Peace.